Welcome, cricket fans of America. This is your game, the 2024 Minor League Cricket Championships presented by Yash Technologies. It's the second game in Western Division action and the first ever minor league game from the Tadika Foundation Cricket Ground in Morgan Hill. It's the renewal of a fierce rivalry, the Silicon Valley Strikers and the Golden State Grizzlies. And the first ball has been bowled by new acquisition, Anish Deshpande, and it is put away to third man for an opening boundary off the bat of another new acquisition for Silicon Valley, Kamran Hotak. There will be a lot of new faces to get to know over the course of today's game, and for that matter, a few familiar faces wearing different colors than they used to. Of course, right off the bat, if you're at all confused from prior years, we do have a major colorway change, and that is the Golden State Grizzlies, who won the toss and have elected to bowl first, wearing now a much more Cal Golden Bears type colorway. The dark blue and the athletic gold, as the second delivery from Deshpande is a dot. Strikers come in at 0-1 on the young season following a 7-wicket loss a week ago today against the defending division champs, the East Bay Blazers. For the Grizzlies, this is the start of their new campaign, and third delivery rumbling in towards Hotak. That is played off to the offside. No run there, and so the four so far, the only runs on the board for the men in two-tone blue. Deep protection here inside the power play, both behind Kamran Hotak, the Afghan under-19 international. A very wide, fine leg, and a third man. That one worked off the pads. That will pick out the man on the leg side back behind for a single, and that'll bring Anthony Bramble on strike for the first time in today's match. And Bramble, well, he comes in to face his old mates from the Golden State Grizzlies. He's been a little bit all over the last handful of seasons, was over in the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Conference rather, in the 2022 minor league cricket season. Last year was the West Division MVP with the Golden State Grizzlies, and has now moved over, or moved down the coast, if you will, to Silicon Valley. Here comes Deshpande's fourth delivery of the over. That one flicked to the deep third man. No changes to the deep protection with Bramble on strike, despite the righty-lefty combination here. Both batters now underway. You'll be hearing a little bit of wind potentially in our on-field microphones. That wind is welcome. 82 degrees here, but likely to be about 20 degrees hotter by the time our match has come to a close here around 3 o'clock. Swing and a miss from Kamran Hotak. Hotak on debut last week against the East Bay Blazers, 21 off 23 before being bowled by new Blazer and former striker Rushil Ugarkar. Another one worked off the pads, and that is going to challenge the man at a wide, fine leg, and he will not be able to run it down. A second boundary on the over, a productive first frame here for the Silicon Valley Strikers. They complete the over at 11 for no loss. We saw Anish Deshpande open the bowling from the Fisher Avenue end, which at this ground is going to be referred to as Atul's end. At the Tarika end, which faces the freeway, Dev Tadani opening the bowling against his old mates. First delivery is to Bramble, and that is knocked down on the inner circle. No run there. So, and the correction, by the way, we had the 2 boundaries, but in fact the first boundary off the first delivery was not contacted at all by Kamran Hotak. That actually goes down as 5 wides, hence the extra run. But Kamran so far 5 off 5. Third delivery to be faced here by Anthony Bramble, the 33-year-old from Guyana. That one is shot through the mid-on area, but no problem keeping that on the circle from Mohit Nataraj. Mohit instantly finding himself the old man of the Golden State Grizzlies, as they have gone very, very young. Most bowling options hovering in the 20 to 22-year-old range for this team as Tadani rumbles in. That one is airborne. It's going to be a long run over in the covers. Sohan Bhatt will have it bounce a little bit behind him, but able to chase it down and hold Bramble to just 2. Part of that youth movement has involved bringing over 2 under-21 players that up to this point had played their entire minor league careers for Silicon Valley. They are presently on either side of the crease in your screen. Dev Tadani and Rahul Jariwala, seeing the 2 of them facing off with second over, correction, Tadani's first over. Kamran, the captain of the Afghanistan under-19 team. One of 2 members of that family on the Silicon Valley Strikers. Amir Hamza Hotak not in the 11 for today's match after coming over from Lone Star Athletic. Very nicely worked. Throws the pull on length and finds the boundary rope for the second time today. Kamran Hotak finishes the second over with a flourish. Another 9 from it off Tadani's first. Silicon Valley 20 for no loss. Anish Deshpande will continue from Atul's end. 20-year-old left arm pacer. A little short with that one, and it is destroyed over backward square for the first 6 of today's encounter. Correction, a 4 rather, at least according to the score. My mistake. In my defense, that is about as far away as the ball can get from us here on the Tarika Foundation ground here in Morgan Hill. Good morning to you, or good afternoon if you're watching from the East Coast, or good evening if you're across an ocean for that matter. 82 degrees as we get underway here, but expected to reach the upper 90s by the afternoon here in Morgan Hill. We're in the midst of a bit of a Northern California heat wave. When even people in Oakland are sweating, you know it's a rough time to be in the Bay Area. That one off the outside edge, but it's going to be too quick to be claimed by third man. Bramble back-to-back boundary strokes to start the third off Deshpande. Anish currently studying at UCLA and so plays most of his other cricket down in the Southern California Cricket Association, and till now we'd seen him in action one season here with Golden State in 2022. In 21 he was with the that season with Golden State, 5 wickets at about 39 runs per. Bit of a sky-high economy, and did leak a lot of boundaries. 23.3% of all balls he bowled wound up at the rope, either on the fly or on the bounce. Bramble looking for a little bit of that, an appeal for an edge. Nothing given from our umpire. Our crew today consisting of Shailendra Raj and Sundaram Subramanian. Anish hoping for the boom, boom, gone. Generally speaking, at least in the season that he had with Golden State 2 years ago, more effective against lefties. It was a small sample size, albeit just 15 balls, but he took 1 wicket and only leaked 16 runs against left-handers. Most of the damage leading to that 10 economy came off of right-handed batters. Bramble, at least through 2 deliveries, was having his way. Now Deshpande adjusting. Already a massive improvement to the start of this here for Silicon Valley Strikers. They scored 37 in the entire power play 1 week ago today, as that's worked to the onside for a single. So far, only 8 runs shy of that right now. Or correction, my mistake, I'm looking at the wrong side. 30 runs, rather, in the power play for Silicon Valley last week. So they're only 1 run shy of that, and already there with just over half the deliveries remaining. Finding the yellow rope with regularity so far. Final ball of the third. And a good line and length, and Counterattack will let that one go by for a dot. 9 from the over, a pair of early boundaries, but then a nice comeback from the young man. 29 for no loss through 3. Immediate change of bowlers from the Tarika end of the ground over by the freeway. It's going to be Vatsal Vagela, the captain, taking over operations from that side. The 22-year-old from Milpitas has been a star in this league pretty much from the get-go. One of the emerging players of the week and then of the season. In the first full year of MILC, he bowls from the Tarika end. First delivery is going to try to split the boundary riders. Nice bit of work, though, to flag that down. The throw comes back to Vagela's end. And certainly made things interesting for Counterattack trying to get back for that second run. Boundary rider for Vagela is at deep mid-wicket. As well as long off There was that man at mid-wicket that came around and flagged that down and saved 2 runs. That one delicately worked back behind square where Anish Deshpande is roaming. Bramble will take a single. 3 runs off the first 2 deliveries. They've already eclipsed their power play total from 7 days ago. And with the lefty-righty combination, Vaghela's tendencies tend to yield a bit more in the way of fielding changes after something like that. By the by, Manav Nayak, the one with that excellent chase down earlier, cramps coming on for space with a ball that stands up a little bit off the pitch. Dot to the lefty. That is hooked, though, and I don't think anybody's going to get to that. No. Also chased down in the deep. Another 2 runs salvaged there as Sohan Bhatt, the deep man at mid-wicket, able to chase that ball down and hold Kamran to just 2. Deep men both on the onside now, long on and mid-wicket. Just 2 allowed outside the boundary within the power play. May have just picked out the man at long on, but not held. An opportunity there, but the ball dropped at long on by Dev Tadani. Six so far off Vaghela's first over. Flattens that one out just a little bit, does the lefty spinner, and Bramble taps it back into the captain's hands. 2 2s, 2 1s, 2 dots. 6 off of it, Silicon Valley 35 for no loss through 4. Vaghela's over allows a change of ends here in the 5th as Dev Tadani will bowl from Atul's end for the 2nd over of the day for him. His spell began by conceding 9. Pair of dots, a pair of 2s, a leg by, and then a 4 off the final delivery. He'll see if he gets a little better luck from Atul's end. First delivery targeting the stumps and worked away and all the way for 6. Kamran Hotak continuing to batter bowling from his NorCal rivals. 21 was the 3rd highest score for Silicon Valley in the encounter last Friday. Beaten out only by Shahan's 29 and Shivam Mishra's 33. One of those names practically synonymous with the Silicon Valley Strikers. The other, one of the players that has swapped shades of blue as it works out this season. Coming down from the capital down to Silicon Valley. We'll likely get a look at him, but for the time being, this opening partnership is approaching a half-century. Second ball of the over, tapped. Bramble wanted that single quickly, and the pressure gives Kamran time to make his way across as well. Vaghela came charging in, but Anthony had that play developing in front of him and could see, yeah, we've got a good go at this. The answer to life, the universe, and everything at the moment. 42 for no loss for Silicon Valley. That one is picked up, and there is no one over there. The only question was whether it might get over the rope on the fly. It needs a bounce to get there, but another boundary. First Hotak 6, and now Bramble's 4. At the moment, Golden State leaking boundaries. Badani last season with Silicon Valley, most effective in the middle overs, where his economy was 5.50. In the power play, it was a little bit feast or famine, not unlike what we're seeing so far. 56% dots, but 21% of balls went to the rope. Another shot here towards the onside, this time chased down by the man in the circle. Quick throw back behind Cameron Hotak is well backed up by AJ Amadi. Another pickup, that one's in the air and is a chance, and this time it is held, and it's the end of Anthony Bramble. Badani able to get Bramble to pick out the man at deep mid-wicket. And an explosive start to the game comes to an end after 17 deliveries. Bramble gone for 21. And Dev Badani has struck first against his old mates. I was about to say that with Badani we are kind of seeing about what we did in the power play last season, for as much as the recent history was looking a little ugly there with the 6 and the 4. It's now been 3 of 11 balls to the boundary, but if I'm not mistaken, 3 dots as well and a few singles here and there. So he has traveled now and again, but able to strike, and that's going to be the beginning now of Shehan Jayasuriya coming out to the crease in place of the 33-year-old Guyanese ex-Grizzly. Jayasuriya this year, the newly minted captain of the side. He was your leading scorer. Correction, no, he was your second leading scorer in the game last week. 29 off 23 before being bowled by Vikash Mohan. Last season, perhaps by his standards, a little bit of a down year. "32-year-old from Colombo, Sri Lanka, with a 112 strike rate last year. That's going to get just past AJ Amadi inside the circle on the first delivery to Shehan, and he will take a single. We'll learn a little more about him after a quick pause. 5 overs down, Silicon Valley, 47 for 1. Change of bowling and the first introduction of spin into today's game as we start the 6th over. Ball in the hand of the number 11, AJ Amadi, 20-year-old right arm off spinner. Like Deshpande, one who played with Hollywood Master Blasters in his past. Might well have been drafted by this Golden State team last season, except for the fact that he had a knee injury that at the time looked scary enough to potentially deprive him of the season. This ball tapped to the onside. A quick single here as Jayasuriya continues to get himself underway. 2 off the first 3 he's faced. If you're just joining us, Anthony Bramble already in the shed, but a contribution of 21 off 17 and 3 fours before he was shown the door by Devtadani. That one's going to bamboozle everybody by Hotak, by the wicketkeeper, and by the slip as well, Kranti Kumar. And that will be indeed a bye. That'll get Jayasuriya back on strike. Shehan, a monster 2022 when he had a strike rate of 150 and an average of 50. 2 centuries that year, as that one is swept back behind toward fine leg. That is pretty classic Jayasuriya. Probably no player in minor league more comfortable with trying to play the ball back behind himself. We've seen it on display as well with the Seattle Orcas the last 2 seasons in Major League Cricket. 2 lefties at the crease right now for Silicon Valley as that ball's tapped to Vaghela at mid-off. Tidy first over so far for Imadi, just 2 runs off the bat, both courtesy of Jayasuriya. Looking to close it out in style and end the power play. The 50 is up, and themselves other here. Still to the offside. That ends the power play. Fielding restrictions will release. Just 4 from the final over of the 6. Silicon Valley 51 for 1. First over outside the power play will be the first over in the minor league career of Varad Kane, who will bowl from Atul's end. Lefty pacer with a little bit of swing. He's been somewhat blocked his first season with Golden State. He was on the roster but did not make an appearance in the 11 last year. Blocked by the likes of Vatsal Vaghela and Sohan Bhatt in the under-21 spots. Vaghela has now aged out. I believe Bhatt has as well. That one is hit back behind. Fine leg by Kamran Hotak. Another 4 for him. Three 4s to go along with the game's only maximum so far, and it's a rude greeting for Kane. May well have faced Kamran in action in the Northern California Cricket Association. So far this year in 60 overs of work in the NCCA, 21 wickets at about 11.4 runs per and an economy of 4. Not too shabby. Better length that time and defended to the offside. Chance here to do a little of what he did in his best day of NCCA action so far this season when he took 4 for 14 against Pashtun's 11. He's responsible for taking out the top 3 of that lineup. Number 1 and number 3 still out there for the strikers. That is in the air, but well fine of backward square. Another 4 off the bat of Kamran Hotak. The 19-year-old from Afghanistan absolutely feeling himself right now, and one of the things that has defined the most successful teams in minor league cricket over the years has been big contributions from your youth players. If your under-19s and your under-21s are not people you have to pencil in and just hide in the field, it makes the rest of your roster that much stronger. That one run back to third man, who's inside the circle. No run there. So far, the rhythm has been 4 dot, 4 dot. We'll see if that pattern holds here. A lot of gold and blue out on the field right now, but various shades of that blue. Full delivery worked to the offside in the middle of 3 Golden State fielders, and that'll be a pair run by Hotak. Silicon Valley with their first real jersey change in 3 years. Past few seasons they've had the gradient on the top with the little off-center stripe going right through the badge. I was particularly fond of that kit. This is going to take a little bit of getting used to. Of course, the deep red of the Grizzlies the last few years, those 49ers-esque colors, traded in for looking a bit more like the Cal Golden Bears as they endeavor to be this year's Bad News Bears. Right now, a bit of bad news so far for Golden State. They give up 11 off the first over outside the power play and are traveling at just about 9 runs and over. 62 for 1 through 7. A.J. Amadi will continue from the Tarika end. First delivery read well on length and swiveled back behind square by Kamran Hotak. Continues to motor his way along. Kane's over tied for the second most expensive so far behind Tadani's 12, although that was also the Dev Tadani over that led to Bramble's wicket. So a bit of light and dark in that one. Better length that time from Imadi. Shehan will work that to the onside for a single. Rahul Jadiwala with the gloves popping all the way out in front to chase that ball down. Third delivery from the offie. Little on the short side and pushed through the covers for another single. Imadi gave up just 4 off his first over. Shehan run a leg by. In fact, Imadi gave up 3. Not charged with the leg by in that over, nor with the one that just happened a few moments ago. That is a shot, however, from Shehan Jayasurya through the offside. Fielders so far are where they need to be, though. And with Kamran on strike, all of the deep protection out in front of him. Taps that one off the slice of the bat. No run there. Protection at the moment at mid-wicket. Deep cover, long on, long off. Again, picks up the length early, swivels this one to the man at a wide long on. Actually, that's more mid-wicket. We're at a bit of an angle in terms of the commentary position here, so occasionally tough to tell which of those we're looking at, but either way, another single. Silicon Valley operating in singles so far against Imadi. He's given up 7 through 2. Silicon Valley 67 for the loss of 1. And here comes a sight we didn't see nearly as much of last season, and that is Sohan Bhatt picking up the ball from, well, either end of a ground and getting ready to bowl. Bowled 23 overs in 2022. In 2023, he bowled 2 overs. Took 1 wicket and gave up 13 runs, but by and large was blocked by a host of other bowling options. Looking to get back to what he did so well, where he was developing into an honest-to-goodness all-rounder by the end of that 2022 season. Useful with the bat, and also took 8 wickets at 20.4 per. This is, generally speaking, where he has done his work. All but 4 overs he bowled that season, as that one is worked to a deep third man. Long chase for Imadi, who will flip that back, and it'll be a pair for Silicon Valley. Kamran moves up to 36. And Bot bowled 23 overs, all but 4 of them in the middle overs. And it is at least a little unusual, as that's worked to the onside, to see him facing off with lefties. In fact, in that very productive 2022 season, all but 4 of his deliveries were against right-handed batters. So he's about to equal how many deliveries he had against lefties in that entire season right here, as he faces off with the double-barrel lefty combination of Kamran and Shehan. So far has given up 3 runs, which is also what he gave up in those 4 in 2022. He took a wicket, though. We'll see if he's got one of those in his back pocket. That is shot along the ground to the man at long off. A single for Jayasuriya. And following those 2 boundaries rapidly off of Kane, as that one goes for a dot. It has been a little bit since a boundary now, good 2.5 overs. Silicon Valley continue to work in singles and doubles, just 4 off of Bot's first, 71 for 1 through 9. The off-spinner Imadi continues from the Tarika end. Here in over number 10 as we get ready for a drinks break in just a few balls. It has been 16 deliveries since the last Silicon Valley boundary. Double barrel spin at the moment. Looking to limit the continued accumulation of this club. As we told you before, Silicon Valley were going at about 9s after 7 overs. They have now seen that run rate dip under 8s. They get a freebie courtesy of a wide, but another dot ball here for Imadi. That one pushed into the space in front of a very deep long on. Jayasuriya just hitting it where they ain't. Deshpande comes in and limits it to a single. Very patient batting we're seeing here so far from Shehan Jayasuriya. Hasn't had one that he can really lean into yet. Hotak has absolutely been the aggressor. Kamran, sitting on 37 runs, has hit 5 balls to the boundary so far, one of them on the fly. Grizzlies trying to rein this one in a little bit and give themselves something chaseable after a hot striker start. That one worked to the backward 45. Another single. We'll have one more delivery as the Imadi extra needs to be rebowled. That'll be pushed wide of Vagela inside the circle. And another single to finish off. But 3 runs off the bat to go along with an extra. Imadi has been ultra economical, just 11 runs off his 3 overs so far. And as we hit the halfway point of the first innings, Silicon Valley 75 for the loss of 1. Sohan Bhatt continues from Atul's end. Gotten very accustomed to the drinks break in between overs number 10 and 11. Doesn't seem to be the case here. First delivery just over a leaping man at deep mid-wicket. Kranti Kumar tried to get one of those big paws up there to knock that down, but Shehan Jayasurya has reached the boundary for the first time, and just in time we've got the replays up and running to enjoy that stroke from Shehan. Trying to go the other way over a drawn-in third man, Ajay Amadi doesn't make contact with the reverse sweep. That is absolutely cranked in our direction. And I believe may have hit a car or who knows what behind us. What did that get? I was too busy cringing and ducking out of the way in case it was about to fall through our tent. We had talked earlier before this game got started as we admire the shot that may have done the damage as that one was cranked to long on. But for sure had to believe we are going to get some drinks out here as the ball is fetched. For sure that one utterly destroyed and may have done some destruction of its own. So I said we might have a drinks break after the 10th over. Instead, we've got it at 10.3 as we have this pause. 2 big sixes, that breaking a string of 21 consecutive deliveries without a boundary for Silicon Valley that had slowed down their accumulation considerably. That coming courtesy of a pair of very economical overs from Ajay Amadi, with one from Sohan Bhatt in the middle, but Shehan has found his swiggin' boots. Give you a sense of what's to come here this weekend. This one of 2 games that are taking place here in the Bay Area. The other one will be tomorrow in Santa Clara, when the same Silicon Valley Strikers will have their rematch with the East Bay Blazers. Golden State, meanwhile, will have to wait until the massive Woodley weekend to get game number 2 under their belts. And they will, in short order, get games number 2, 3, 4, and 5 under their belts down in Van Nuys. A very busy weekend. The whole Western Division will be descending upon Van Nuys at that point. Right back to his old games here, and Shehan Jayasurya has got 3 sixes in the over off Sohan Bhatt. The 23-year-old lefty missing on length this time around. Very, very short. And Shehan knows exactly what to do with that. This time the chase after that ball not quite so lengthy. I think at least on that case he managed to avoid the gravel. So we were saying Shehan was patient and Kamran was the aggressor, and that has, well, that's shifted. Right now Kamran has been spectator for the last handful of balls, and Shehan with 18 of his 26 runs coming off the 4 balls that preceded that one, as Silicon Valley have very nearly got up the 100 at this point. Looking to re-accelerate after a slightly dormant period. Hotak works that one back behind square. And so it'll be a pair of singles after that Silicon Valley had managed just 13 runs over the prior 3 overs. They take 20 off the 11th, 95 for 1. And we're going to take a look at the batting card here. As we see the 2 main stars, of course, Anthony Bramble, the cameo early, 21 off 17 for him. He managed 3 fours to get the account up and running, but he picked out Anish Deshpande at deep mid-wicket at the end of Devdadani's second over, and that's the 1 wicket that has fallen. Kamran Hotak, a steadily accumulated 39 off 32. Shehan Jayasurya was quiet until about 3 minutes ago. Now very much less so. It'll be Amadi continuing from the Tarika end. Appeals for leg before, nothing given. Jayasurya has danced well down the track, but not in any real danger there, with Amadi nowhere near the stumps. Let's see if there's anything to that appeal. But Amadi very quickly ready for the second delivery of the over. Rocking onto his back foot is Kamran Hotak, and he'll beat Vagela enough to scamper for a single. The young captain you saw there in the field, somebody already considered a senior cricketer by this Golden State Grizzlies outfit, despite his youthful appearance. Bit of an edge there from Jayasurya. Lucky that didn't find its way to Timber. Chased down back here at third man by Devdadani. Pair of singles. Hotak this time swivels his hips and hoiks this one out towards mid-wicket. This has been about all they've been able to manage off of AJ Amadi so far, as he is going to be finishing his spell in 2 deliveries. Jayasurya again trying to get a big piece of one, but this time right to Vatsal Vagela for a dot ball. $14 so far off 23 deliveries. Final ball of AJ Amadi's spell. He forces Jayasurya onto his back foot. He'll push that to a vacant area between mid-on and mid-wicket. And as the fielders converged, they're able to run 2, and that brings up the 100 for Silicon Valley on the final delivery of the 12th. Amadi finishes with 16 off of his 4 overs of work. Silicon Valley 100 for 1. And it will be the newcomer from the St. Louis Americans, Kranti Kumar, bowling over number 13 from Atul's end. First ball is guided wide of the man at mid-on. That'll be cover. Quick single run. This is the first pair of deliveries for Kranti Kumar in minor league cricket. That one shot right back past his outstretched hand as he tried to avoid a collision with Kamran Hotak. Singles off the first 2. This ball tapped to the offside. Kumar quick to field off his own bowling. Jayasurya thought about trying to take a single, thought better of it. Strikers have managed to push that run rate back past the 8 mark after it had started to languish in the mid-7s. That one just over the leaping hand of extra cover. Kamran Hotak into the 40s, but very nearly into the shed with that one. Another weedy this morning, and fielder at that position might have had a chance. They back him up just a little bit for the next delivery to Jayasurya. That one is wrecked and is going to go all the way. And luckily this time it has hit a shipping container rather than a car. Jayasurya's 4th maximum of the innings. This time around, the off spinner, little bit full. And a little bit straight. Ball is fetched. Jayasurya moves up to 36 now off of 22. Mind you, he was 6 off 11, which means he's 30 off his last 11. And maybe better than that, to be honest. Ball has been retrieved back in the hands of Kranti Kumar Chintapalli. Deep protection against Jayasurya. Is it backward square, mid-wicket, long on, long off, and extra cover. But if he's going to keep hitting it over the rope, it doesn't matter where you put the fielders. Last delivery is a dot, but 9 off of Kranti Kumar's first minor league cricket over, and over absolutely defined by one big blast from Shehan Jayasurya, 109 for the loss of 1. We weren't able to show you at the beginning of the contest, but we do, of course, have the lineups here for you. For Silicon Valley Strikers, it was one change to the lineup they ran out 7 days ago. Ishwarajit Sohi into the 11 in place of Kushbalala, who is available as the sub-fielder. As for the Golden State Grizzlies, who won the toss and elected to come out here and bowl, we'll look at them a little bit later as we are back underway here. Vatsal Vagela returning, and his first delivery is on one hop to mid-wicket. Brief cries of catch it, but did not. Like they're going to make it to their 51st, assuming that neither of them ends up having their time at the crease cut short in the near future. But Hotak at 44 off 39, Shehan has accelerated big time in the last 12 or 13 deliveries he's faced. 34 of his runs coming since the 11th ball. That is another gorgeous shot. And that's going to split the fielders at mid-wicket and long on. Here at our commentary position, which is directly behind Devtadani at third man, we had the best view in the house for that shot. Came springing off the bat directly away from us. Picked it up on length. He has now moved to 44. Big rip, and that's going to run back towards Devtadani. So far, this looking a bit more like the Shehan Jayasurya we saw in 22 instead of the slightly more timid version from 23. This one is in the air and may hang. Sohan Bhatt is going to hold it at mid-wicket, and that is all she wrote for Kamran Hotak, just like that. The other Silicon Valley opener dismissed following the Shehan Jayasurya leg bye. Vagela has struck, had the 4th most wickets in minor league cricket last season with 18, and we're going to take a look at how he claimed his first of this season. Very flat delivery, trying to speed Hotak up just a little bit. And floats that one to the man at deep mid-wicket. Moments earlier, I've seen Jayasurya just playing with the men back of the boundary, but Hotak departs 44 off 40. And Silicon Valley now 119 for 2 as Golden State try to see if they can build off of that dismissal to keep this total chaseable in the 20 overs to come. 6 overs plus a ball here to continue to build the total. Silicon Valley have already just about finished off the run-a-ball portion of the proceedings at 119. Everything from there, of course, gravy. It'll be Shivam Mishra coming into the crease. As we see Dev Thadani in the screen here, Mishra, another player that has made the swap between Golden State and Silicon Valley, in his case going the opposite direction. Shivam, the 31-year-old from Mumbai, had a slow start to last year, but really picked it up late and was the high scorer as he gets underway quickly here with a ball to square leg. We'll tell you more about Shivam Mishra's 2023 and what he's done so far here in 2024 when we come back. 14 overs done and dusted. Silicon Valley 120 for 2. A look here at the first starting 11 for the Golden State Grizzlies. Mohit Nasaraj and Kranti Kumar Chintapalli, as we said, the main bits of experience there. Otherwise, it is a very, very young lineup. The likes of Manav Nayak, Dev Thadani, Vatsal Vaghela, who is considered a senior cricketer even at 22 years old in this side. Deshpande, Yamadi, Jariwala, Bhatt, Kane, lots of players around that 20 to 22 range. Lots of promise. I said on the preview show, or the draft show rather, for this season, that I could see this team finishing really just about anywhere in the standings. When you've got a number of youth players, if you get a couple of them making the jump, in quotation marks, could very easily see a very good team. This is a full toss, however, from Kranti Kumar, and that is going to be deposited with great relish by Shivam Mishra for his first boundary of the encounter. Mishra 33 off 22 before being run out in the first match of the season. That, for all intents and purposes, a Shohei Ohtani looking baseball swing on the full toss. Kranti will look for the comeback here.
Play Shivam, play Shivam!
Well navigated as it's pushed to mid-wicket. Of course, deep men over there, so a lot of room to potentially run that single. That'll bring Jayasurya on strike. Potentially one shot away from a half century. Protection mostly in front of him. All 5 men forward of square. That one's worked behind as a result. Fine leg picks it up. It'll just be a single, and Shehan moves to 40. 5. That one may have taken an edge. Jadiwala certainly thinks throw and launched the ball into the stratosphere, but no signal has come from the umpire. It would certainly do the Grizzlies a world of good to dismiss Mishra cheaply. Had the best strike rate on the Silicon Valley strikers in that game, going at 150. That's a nice play getting down to his left by the man in the circle. That is Sohan Bhatt. And so, mostly a cheap over, besides, again, the one big shot from Shivam Mishra. 8 from it. Silicon Valley 128 for 2. The skipper continues from the Tarika end of the ground, over by the freeway. His first delivery of over number 16 is smashed by Jayasuriya. That's over on a bounce, and that moves him to 49. Shahan started out very, very patient through the first dozen or so deliveries he faced, and now if the length or the line is wrong, he is pouncing. You could see on that one, made an immediate move across his stumps to allow him to access backward square. Vagela looking for the comeback, does the same, does Shahan, and this time around Vagela adjusts the line just a little bit, and oh, he's gotten the stumps. Didn't see it on the live picture, but one shy of his 10th career 50 here in minor league cricket, and Jayasuriya has been dismissed by Vatsal Vagela. What an adjustment, as Shahan tried the exact same move with his feet. We'll see here, stepped across the stumps, and actually appears to have chopped that on to his own stumps, and will depart for 49 off 29. Silicon Valley 1-3-2 for the loss of 3. That's going to bring out Gary Graham. This is about the time that Graham likes to be out there. The 42-year-old Jamaican had a very down year in 2023, but a lot of that was because he had to play quite differently. He was getting put in the middle overs an awful lot more frequently than usual. 78 of the 122 balls he faced in that season came between overs number 7 and 15. He was out before the death overs even got going 5 times in 2023. For contrast, he'd only been out before the start of the 16th over 4 times total in his first 2 seasons in minor league cricket. It will be interesting to see. His arrival might be the sort of thing that gets Anish Deshpande back into the attack, as lefty pacers have been his bugaboo. He'll face Vagela first, though, and guides the first ball he faces just wide of the fielder at mid-off. He'll run out a single, and Shivam Mishra will come back on strike. Shivam so far a 6, and otherwise 2 runs off the other 5 balls he's faced as he gets himself settled. We were mentioning beforehand a slow start to the year last season for Shivam Mishra, as he is not quite able to make good contact on that, a bit off the Q end of the bat, as Vagela got him for a wide line. But he finished the year after a 56 not out against LA Lashings, went 16, 35, 43, 37 before being dismissed on the first delivery of the final game of the season. Leans hard over, and there's a ball back, and he is going to be run out by a spectacular throw in from Rahul Jariwala. Shivam, a bit of indecision, couldn't quite decide whether to go or not. And that's where the presence of the glove man, Rahul Jariwala, back there pays dividends. The throw may have been a little bit high coming from the man at backward square, but guided expertly onto the timber, and we'll get a good look at it here. Mishra again trying to lean out over his stumps. And camera had left for a moment there. The throw, though, right on the money. And that'll be all she wrote for Shivam Mishra. Run out with 8 from 8. And so for Golden State, a chance to try to wrestle back a bit of control of the net, the run rate. being accrued by the Silicon Valley Strikers. They've gotten up to 8.4. But now 2 new batters at the crease. Admittedly, one renowned for going boom, boom, boom at the death. It'll be Pranay Suri in at 6 to join Gary Graham, and he will face the final delivery of this 16th over in just a moment. Gotten very used to seeing a lot of lefty batters up there, and all of a sudden, it's 2 righties. Vagela hit for a 4 off the first delivery of the over. Since then, it's been wicket, 1, dot, and then a run out as Mishra tried to stick to the same plan. Suri guides that back behind square. It'll be a single to start. He is underway. Both new batters with 1 off 1. Silicon Valley 134 for 4 with 4 overs remaining. Dev Thadani returns to the attack. He bowled his first over of the day from the Tarika end, but has been at Atul's end for the other 2. Went for 9 in his first over, 12, and took a wicket in his second over. Both of those coming inside the power play. It's going to be Pranay Suri on strike to face the first delivery. Calls for leg before, but nothing given by the umpire. Likely going a bit down leg, and Suri will run the leg by. Gary Graham with a more colorful helmet than I can recall seeing him in past seasons. Tapped into the ground. Good tough length from Dev Thadani there. Graham starting to use the feet to come forward. May have borderline yorked himself on that. Graham, an active coach in the area with the East Bay Youth Cricket Association. Somebody who in my first game attending minor league back in 2021, I heard getting sledged by his own charges. Pretty entertaining way to be introduced to the Bay Area cricket ecosystem as he taps a single to the onside. Pranay Suri, the 31-year-old from Hyderabad. .109 strike rate last season. Generally speaking, when he scored, it was coming off of boundary strokes. 80 of his 108 runs coming that way. 61% of the balls he faced were dots. A dot there as he's not able to make firm contact. All back through to Jadiwala. Thadani so far a very economical first over back into the attack. A leg by and a single off the first 4.
Keep batting, Pranay boy!
Stepping forward is Suri, and he'll get enough on that to guide it into a vacant area at mid-wicket. Provide time for 2 runs to come across. Non-boundary strike rate for Suri last year was 34. That is certainly an encouraging sign to see him taking runs between the wickets. The interesting thing here is this pairing does an awful lot for you if you're trying to make a decision about who to bowl. You'd love to put a lefty against Gary Graham. He's had all kinds of trouble against it, but Suri absolutely was crushing them last year. 162 strike rate against left arm pace. And so you're in that situation where one batter kind of defends the other. 3 off the bat, 4 total taken off of the 17th over. Silicon Valley 138 for 4. Graham on strike to begin over number 18 against the captain, and he leans into one but can't get under it. It'll trickle out to long on for a single. So far, a studied start to the innings of two men very much associated the last couple of years with reaching the yellow rope. Vagela around the wicket to Prane Suri. Suri gets under this one, and no one's even moving for that. Well out of here, wide of the man and long on. A pickup shot par excellence. Luckily, the bright white ball standing out enough to be found amidst the underbrush out in the deep. That one a bit on the full side, and Suri able to take it off the short hop. Cleared the rope by a good 15 to 20 yards. Now uses his feet, but unable to make solid contact. Tried to get it wide of Vagela, but the Slim Reaper flags it down. 2 wickets taken in Vagela's last over. One credited to him, the other credited to the field. Suri, this one in the air, could be a chance, and it is claimed at long off. And another wicket falls. It is Vagela's third of the day against 29 runs conceded. In a spell 2 balls away from being over. Wicket number 5 down for the men in two-tone blue. And it's Prane Suri moments after picking up his first boundary stroke of the season after going 4 off 11 last week. Picks out the fielder, trying to make it boom boom. Instead it is boom gone. In at 7, it'll be Adit Gorawara, who had a nice late cameo. One of 4 strikers last week to clear the 20-run mark before he was bowled by Abhishek Paradkar. Got there off 17 deliveries, and 14 of those 20 runs coming off of a pair of 4s and a 6. Gorawara, a 22-year-old Hong Kong international who has traded in the slightly lighter sky blue of San Diego Surf Riders for that of the Silicon Valley Strikers here in 2024. In my mind, one of his primary distinctions is he is one of the draft picks that I picked. I looked at the available players and thought to myself, what does Silicon Valley need? And I said, that's the guy. His first delivery is going to be an attempt for 2 as the ball comes back to Vagela's end. Managed to split the fielders, not with enough pace on the ball to reach the rope, but certainly required enough time to chase it. That Gorawara able to take 2 off his first delivery, now rocks onto his back foot, and he'll get a single off the final ball of the 18th and retain the strike. Silicon Valley Strikers move to 148 for 5, 12 balls left to build on the total. Vatsal Vagela picks up where he left off in 2023. 18 wickets last season to rank 4th in minor league. He's got 3 in the Golden State Grizzlies opener against 32 runs. He goes at 8 runs and over. The team as a whole going at 8.22 and over here with 12 balls remaining. Dev Thadani will bowl his final over of the spell from Atul's end. Good hard length, but worked well to the outfield. Adit Gorawada picks up another run here in the bright red pads. Wondering if those pads in particular are a holdover from Hong Kong's colors. Certainly makes for quite the contrast. Thadani, after 2 expensive overs inside the power play, a great deal more economical in the 17th. Gave up just 4, one of those coming off a leg by. Here comes Gary Graham, though. 2-11 enter chat. Hoiks that one over the top for his first 6 of the encounter. 6 of Graham's 15 last weekend came courtesy of a 6. He was eventually squared up in front of the stumps by Sanjay Krishnamurthy and dismissed LBW last weekend. So far, 7 off 5 for him, looking to avoid the recent disease for this team, which is hitting a boundary, followed immediately by getting your wicket taken. Here comes Thadani looking for the comeback. Good-looking ball, just barely contacted. And my apologies there. The 150 brought up by Silicon Valley, not by a Gary Graham 6, but by a 4. I think I lost sight of that ball somewhere along the lines as it made its way toward the rope. Thought it got over there on the fly. Six off the first 3 deliveries here of Thadani's final over. Waiting on that one and playing it under his eyes. And here comes the throw back for the stumps from Varadkane. No backup, and that will allow Silicon Valley strikers to take a single. Was not a run on offer to begin with, but there was after that ball scooted by the stumps. Taking a look at the bowling card here, Anish Deshpande, Sohan Bhatt, Kranti Kumar, and Varadkane all have overs left. We'll see which one of them is entrusted with the 20th in just 2 balls' time. Gary trying to get under 1, but unable to completely square it up. Guides it into the covers for a single, and besides his 4, it's been all 1 so far in the 19th over against Thadani. 1 ball left, as he, like his skipper, has gone at roughly 8 runs and over. Final delivery of Dev's spell. That may well be 5 wides, as it does reach the boundary rope, waiting for the signal. No, that did pick up bat on the way through. It is instead 4 leg buys, rather. Correction, did not pick up bat, picked up body. And so thought it was 4 different things along the way, but that does indeed come off the pads of Adit Gorawada. 4 leg buys to close out the over. Those won't count against Dev, but they do count against the Golden State Grizzlies as a whole. Silicon Valley 160 for 5 as they go to the final over. A bit of bad luck as Dev Thadani's line drifted a bit too far down leg and resulted in 4 more runs Off the pads of Adit Gorawada, that's Silicon Valley sitting at 164.5. As we go to the final over, and it's going to be Anish Deshpande coming from the Tarika end. He bowled 2 in the early going for a total of 20 runs. $11 coming off his first and 9 off his second. Gary Graham getting down low and trying again to get under a delivery. Instead, that one skews to long off. Very narrow long off in Sohan Bhatt, and a single from it. Graham against the left arm pace the last 2 years has faced 27 balls of it, scored 21 runs, and lost his wicket 4 times. A little surprising that you don't see more of that deployed when he comes out there, although we did mention Pranay Suri, pretty good protection against that. Adit, on the other hand, 6 of his 9 dismissals last year came against lefties. That one is just going to get by Rahul Jariwala. That is a bye, as the ball did not contact Adit's bat. Instead, an impact with the gloves and didn't stick. Byes in the 20th over, the sort of thing that will make a Golden State Grizzlies fan's stomach upset. That one skewed off the edge of the bat, and it's going to have enough carry to get by the man at third man. Chase is on here as Varadkane will get it, and Gary Graham and Gorawada will run 3 off of that edge. Smart thing here with Gorawada on strike is to avoid the spinners, because pace was the difficulty for him last year. 74 the strike rate against it. By contrast, 223 against off spin. So certainly the best option at this point, and if not for the inability to quite get a strong enough hand to that ball earlier, it would be a very economical over. 5 from 4 so far, 2 balls left in the Silicon Valley innings. Over the wicket, Deshpande, and that is cranked by Adit Gorawada. Straight back past Deshpande for a 4. Gorawada saying, there are lies, damn lies, and statistics right here. I don't care what you say I've done against lefty pace. I'm going to deposit this one past long on. And so it will be the 22-year-old Hong Kong international to face the final delivery of this first innings. Silicon Valley started out going at about 9s. They got down as low as 7.5s. They look like they're going to wind up at about 8.5 and over as Gorawada guides this one wide of mid-wicket and picks up another 4 to close out. No, correction, a 6. That one went all the way to finish off the innings, and with that, Silicon Valley finish off at 175 for 5. And it's going to be a very healthy-looking batting card, particularly compared to the 142 of 7 days prior. A flurry from Gorawada as he scores 10 of his 15 off those final 2 deliveries. And it'll be 176, the target for Golden State Grizzlies. Let's see how we got there. The openers, Cameron Hotak and Anthony Bramble, put on a solid opening partnership as they went for 46 runs together. Cameron Hotak would eventually reach 44. Bramble was the first wicket as Anish Deshpande was picked out at mid-wicket off the bowling of Dev Thadani for the first one to fall in today's encounter. Then it would be Hotak and Jayasuriya partnering, and the 2 of them would reach 119 before Cameron Hotak was dismissed. That was the first of Vatsal Vagela's 3 wickets on the day. That one a long drive to Sohan Bhatt at long on. Jayasuriya would follow suit just 7 balls later as he was clean bowled by Vatsal Vagela, 1 ball shy of his half century. Would have been his 10th in minor league cricket, but tried the same move that got him the 4 on the prior ball, and Vagela adjusted the line, got him to chop on. That was where we stood 132 for 3, just a few balls into the 16th over. Shiva Mishra would also have his stay cut short by a bit of indecision between the wickets and a run out, Varadkane to Rahul Jariwala. That had them at 133 for 4, and then it was Pranay Suri, the last of the wickets to fall, as he picked one up for a long 6 and again fell victim to the boom, then gone, picking out Anish Deshpande, trying to make it 2 long balls from 2. The late cameos, Gary Graham goes 13 off 9, Adit Gorawara 15 off 9, and 10 off the final 2 to reach this 175 total. Mentioned Vagela's 3 wickets for 32, the only other wicket taken by Thadani. Otherwise, the economy's a little on the big side. It was A.J. Amadi that was responsible for putting on the clamps in the middle overs, but they weren't able to get the wickets then, and it gave Silicon Valley the time to express themselves down the stretch. As they reach this total of 175, the target for Golden State Grizzlies to claim victory in their opener for 2024 will be 176. And we'll be back with you in about 15 minutes to witness that chase here on the MLC Network. See you soon. Welcome back to the Taraka Foundation ground here in Morgan Hill, California. Golden State Grizzlies getting ready for the chase. 176 target is the second biggest we've seen in this rivalry, behind the 206 that was posted to Golden State back in 2022 on July 17th. Otherwise, it is a very, very tall task, and it will fall at least at the start to Rahul Jariwala and Sahil Garg to get that underway. This a rivalry here between the Strikers and the Grizzlies, where the Strikers have, at least in terms of results, absolutely had Golden State's number. They are 8-0 all time against the team from the capital. That dates back in particular to 2021, when Golden State went 13-3, didn't lose to anyone else over the course of the season, but 3 losses to the Strikers, in particular the very last one in a knockout game, was enough to get them the victory. But it's worth saying, for a rivalry that seems that one-sided in terms of results, the games have rarely been boring. The last few of them, particularly in 2023, no exception. The first game, Silicon Valley did win by 6 wickets. They got there with 10 balls remaining, but the second game between these teams in the regular season and the playoff both went down to the final delivery of a Silicon Valley chase. A little bit unusual to see Golden State in fact chasing here against Silicon Valley. It's only the 3rd time in 9 matches that they have done so. But we're looking forward to hopefully something along those general lines. It will be Saurabh Netravalkar to get us started. The Oracle rumbling in from the Taraka end. First delivery to his old teammate, Rahul Jariwala. Navigated but unable to get the bat on it. It's a dot to start for Saurabh. Jariwala, the 20-year-old from Fremont, California, and Irvington High School graduate. Talking with Nirav Shah, the GM of the Grizzlies, they said they've wanted him for quite a while. Said he's one of the best pure batters they feel like they've seen. He's been immediately named vice captain of the side. Describes him as having a sort of lazy elegance, and that's on display right here as he targets his old teammate and mentor, Saurabh Netravalkar, and has the first 4 of this run chase. Flays that one off to square leg, maybe just a little behind square. Netravalkar, for his part, tied with Vatsal Vagela among others for 4th in minor league cricket in wickets last season with 18 of them. Strike rate and economy a little bit down from the heyday in 2022 for him last season. Strike rate went up to 17 balls per wicket, down from 12. Economy up to 5.5, up from 5.1. But he's always stingy in the power play. As we take a look at that lovely shot to square leg from Rahul Jariwala, who has had dots on either side of that early 4. Of course, Saurabh, perhaps the USA cricketing story of the summer. Coming over the wicket to Jariwala, and that one's tapped to the offside for another dot delivery. 63% of his deliveries inside the power play last season were dot balls. He's always stingy here. 4.75 economy last year in the power play. It's at the death where he does most of his strike bowling. Strike rate of 28 in the power play. Knock that down to 11.5 balls per wicket at the death. He bowls high leverage here in minor league cricket. He does it in major league cricket. He does it for USA. And he's looking to get Silicon Valley off to a good start in a defense of a 176 target here. 4 dot balls to go along with the one exquisite Jariwala shot. Of course, Netravalkar will be joined by the likes of Ishwarjit Sohi, Kamran Hotak, Pranay Suri, Shehan Jayasuriya amongst the bowling ranks today. That one just flashes past the outside edge, pounds off the gloves of Bramble, falls to the earth. That's all she wrote for over number 1. Just a single scoring shot, but it was a good one from Jadiwala. Grizzlies 4 for no loss. Faisal. All right. Oh, shoot. There he is. Thank you. Got him there. Apologies for the lack of commentary. We'll be telling you about a few people all over again here. A very bright day in Morgan Hill, and it was a little hard to see the light that tells me whether I'm coming into your ears or not. So 3 singles off the second over. The first bowled by Faisal Khan. First delivery from Sarab Netravalkar, who continues from the Tarika end, is a dot delivery. They've all been dots so far, except for the 4 that Rahul Jariwala hit off the second ball. Sahil Garg on strike. He's got a pair of singles off the 5 he has faced so far. Garg, a 17-year-old that... So that one slips back towards Anthony Bramble. The 17-year-old batter that GM Nirav Shah says reminds him a little bit of Rahul Jariwala at a younger age. That's what he refers to as a little bit of a lazy elegance. Much like Rahul. Somebody knocking on the door at this point of making a big jump in quality. 142 strike rate and a 20 average in 12 innings in the Northern California Cricket Association. So far, getting his first look at Sarab Netravalkar here in minor league cricket action. And of course, Sarab with, well, quite the record over the course of the summer. You just list the people whose wicket he took, and it's quite remarkable. Aiden Markram, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Mohammad Rizwan, Kyron Pollard, Devin Conway, Faf du Plessis, Sunil Narine, and then a few really big names in American cricket as well, in the likes of Nauman Anwar, Harmeet Singh, Unmukt Chand, Sanjay Krishnamurti. He has been busy and is at the best in these high leverage situations. That one buzzes by the bat of Sahil Garg. He has not been able to square any of the first 4 deliveries up. The required run rate, of course, started just a little south of 9s. It is now quickly crawling up towards 10s as the uber economical opening spell continues here for Sarab Netravalkar. Just 1 scoring shot against him in 10 balls so far. Make it 1 out of 11. Sarab, of course, coming off of a Super 8's appearance in the World Cup where he took 6 wickets, and a championship performance with the Washington Freedom in Major League where he took 15 wickets to lead all bowlers despite missing several games on paternity leave. Had to give the rest of them a chance, I suppose. Garg runs that one between the slip and the gully. He will get a run and spoil the potential maiden over for Sarab Netravalkar. Instead, 1 from it. Golden State through 3 overs, 8 for no loss. Now in need of nearly 10 a frame from here to the finish. A look here at some of the batting to come for the Golden State Grizzlies. Kranti Kumar thought he might have been the opener alongside Jariwala here. He did open most of the season with St. Louis Americans, but maybe will be coming in at 3 or 4 here. Sohan Bhatt carries a useful bat. Mohit Nataraj, of course, a source of some power late in the piece. Manav Nayak, certainly somebody who in the NCCA has been plying his trade well this season with a 118 strike rate. 3,000 one-day runs over the last 5 years of action for him. So lots to come here. We're going to get our look at the first bowling change of the match for Silicon Valley, as it will be Ishwar Sohi, the Canadian international. 30-year-old originally from Punjab. Bowling from Atul Zen. Goes very full on the first delivery, and that one is shot straight through past Sohi. Long chase. will be a pair of runs off that first delivery of the Sohi over. Ishwara Sohi, who became a Silicon Valley striker just in time for the Super 8s last season. Flirting with the tram line, but that one is a legal delivery according to our umpiring crew. We've got Shailendra Raj and Sundaram Subramanian out there. Sort of a fun thing becoming part of the Bay Area cricket community is you run into familiar faces pretty much anywhere you go now if it's a cricket type event. Happened to take in a good bit of the T20 World Cup final alongside Sundaram Subramanian down in Fremont. Ball worked back to fine leg by Sahil Garg. Had a little bit more luck scoring runs when facing up the bowlers from Atul's end, of course. Few tougher customers than Saurabh Netravalkar over at the Tarika end. That'll bring Jariwala back on strike. 5 so far off the 8 he's faced. 4 of them came off of 1 delivery. That is filleted just off the edge and caught by Anthony Bramble. What a snag. Little bit of an understated reaction at first. Didn't realize he'd actually gotten the glove to it. That is all for Rahul Jariwala. Gone 5 from 9. And Ishwarjit Sohi has struck first here in Silicon Valley's defense. It is going to be Kranti Kumar entering in place of the dismissed batter, but a look here, thought initially that Jariwala got just enough of that to guide it past Bramble, but he does indeed make the catch, diving to his right side. Bramble last season second only to Unmukt Chand of the Atlanta Lightning in total dismissals, with 14 of them. Although his most common method of dismissal was actually stumpings, which he led MILC in with 5, but not too shabby with the cat-quick reflexes and the dives from one side to the other to claim thick edges. Jariwala last season, some struggles against pace bowling. His strike rate down to 77 against Pacers and an average of 11.1, and so those struggles continue here against Ishwar Sohi. Sohi, for his part, continuing the power play excellence that he brought to Silicon Valley's 3 games in the Super 8s last season, where he had a 3.83 economy and took 3 wickets. Somewhat astonishingly, 75% of the balls he delivered in the Super 8s were dots inside the power play. And immediately he's trying to make life miserable for the new man, Kranti Kumar, an appeal for LBW. Falls on deaf ears. Kranti Kumar, 28-year-old from Prakasam, India. Played his List A cricket with Andhra Pradesh. Most of his List A in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy competition. That one comes climbing up on the new Grizzly. And I believe that's the final delivery of the over, so he's walking back like he's got another one to bowl. Don't know if we missed a wide somewhere in there, but it certainly appears that should be it. Waiting for a signal from Sundaram Subramanian. It does look like we're going to have to figure something out. No, he is now moving. Okay, yes, that is in fact the end of the over. Wickets in the middle of the over can be very, very confusing. You forget how many were left at that point. Forget that one even happened, besides it being a moment of bliss. So at any rate, that is the end of the 4th over. 3 from it and the wicket of Rahul Jariwala. Golden State Grizzlies 11 for 1. a single and 1-4 off the bat of the now dismissed Rahul Jadwala. Why wouldn't you go ahead and keep Saurabh Netravalkar going from this end? But he will concede some runs here off the first delivery of the fifth. 2 off the bat of Sahil Garg, who now sits on 8 runs off 14. Kranti Kumar at the other end of the pitch, waiting to get going, but Garg now with 3 off the last 2 against Netravalkar after struggling just to survive the first 5 he faced against him. Looking for the cut shot, doesn't make contact, straight back into the gloves of Bramble. Last season, these Golden State Grizzlies had issues with wickets inside the power play across the board. Didn't really take them with the ball, lost them rather frequently with the bat. So far, it is looking a little bit like that. They were, however, the best middle overs batting unit in this Western Division last season, as Garg again looking for the cut. Again, just simply beaten for pace. And my apologies, that is not Saurabh Netravalkar from that end. I thought I saw 20, that is 30. That is Faisal Khan with a change of ends after bowling his first from Atul's end, placed over here by Ishwar Sohi. And it's now Faisal getting his second over of the power play in. Garg a little bit behind on that one, so a little more understandable why Sahil was struggling. It even looked like just against the pace of Faisal Khan, who absolutely is humming it in there. Deep protection against the batter Garg at backward point and backward square. Not expecting him to Four dots on the trot for Faisal. Final delivery of the over, and that is almost snagged by a leaping Gary Graham. And if anybody in minor league would have held on to a sharp chance like that, I think Gary might have been one of my top votes. Maybe a Darren Davis, maybe a Zia Shazad, but my word, big opportunity there. It goes wanting. They take a single off of it. Garg up to 9 runs. Golden State 14 for 1 through 5. Ishwar Sohi with a wicket and just 3 runs conceded in his first over of work. He will continue from Atul's end. That ball worked very fine, just past the glove of Anthony Bramble and all the way to the boundary behind square leg. Sahil Garg. That, I think, is the lazy elegance that Nirav Shah was referring to. Kranti continues to await his turn at the other end. A look here as Garg does well to make a little bit of room. That ball down the leg side. I would imagine a miss of the line, especially given the lack of protection on the onside. That one is absolutely tomahawked. As Ishwar digs the ball into the pitch and goes short. That might have been well over the head of Sahil Garg and goes for a single run, putting Kumar back on strike. Nothing lazy about that stroke, my goodness. Four matches, every one of them with wickets taken now for Ishwar Sohi in the two-tone blue. Went 2 for 24 against Lone Star, 1 for 21 against Dallas, and took 3 for 23 against East Bay in those Super 8s. That's another one worked down the leg side, but it did not touch the bat of Kranti Kumar, according to our umpiring crew. Bramble dove to make the catch, and the signal is a wide. Bramble shakes his head, which is easy to tell from here because those stunner shades glint each time the head goes back and forth. So not happy with that call. But it is an extra, first one of this second innings. That's well struck, splits the fielders inside the circle, but it doesn't have quite enough Sunoco to make it to the boundary. Just reminded that we're going to be saying petrol from here on out, I think, rather than Sunoco. Ishwar Sohi, so far a much more expensive second over, 8 from it. That one looking to crowd Kranti Kumar for space. But again, a wide delivery. Somewhat curious, this particular approach, given that there are only 3 players on the onside of Kranti Kumar right now. Mid-on, backward square. That's another one down the leg side. There's a mid-on, a backward square, and then a deep square leg. Everybody else is to the offside. So they're either trying to double bluff him, or that is not where Ishwar Sohi wants to be putting that ball. Either way, into the body, leg stump line or not, if you're missing behind him, not going to do you much good either way. That one hits the pads, and there goes the finger, and that perhaps what they were looking for Kranti Kumar, to try and square him up in front of the stumps, and at long last, after 3 misfires, Ishwar Sohi gets it right, and he's got his second. Kranti Kumar in his Western Division debut goes for just 2 off 4. Golden State now at 24 for 2 and in a world of hurt as they look to pursue a total of nearly 9 runs and over. The required rate from this point forward already up past 10.5 as Manav Nayak comes out to bat for the Bad News Bears. Very strong, borderline intimidating appeal, I would say, from the body position of Ishwar Sohi, as he looked to get the call from Shailendra Raj. So that will bring in Manav Nayak, a recent addition to the team, and an 18-year-old batter, a USA under-19 debutant back in January. Mentioned before, somebody with 3,000 one-day runs to his name in Northern California cricket over the last 5 years. So far this season, 6 innings of NCCA T20s. Faced exactly 100 balls and scored 118 runs. So we always talk about strike rate as a hypothetical. What would you do against 100 balls? It's not even hypothetical. It's exactly what he's done. 118 off on 100. 2 balls left in the over, despite the busy looking board under the name of Ish Sohi. 3 wides have all had to be re-bowled first of those, resulting in wicket number 2 falling. It's the pass again. This time looks like it's going down leg. No interest from Shailendra Raj. So he not part of the opening day 11 for Silicon Valley Strikers when they fell to the East Bay Blazers, looking to get right against their other NorCal rival. They'll take on the Blazers again tomorrow. Good looking line right there in the corridor of uncertainty from Ishwar Sohi. Doesn't pick up the stumps, doesn't tempt Manav Nayak, and that will be the end of the over. After a 4 and 3 wides and 3 other runs off the bat, wicket ... to finish the power play. Golden State Grizzlies through 6, 24 for 2, chasing 176. End of the power play signaled by Sundaram Subramanian. Golden State Grizzlies hoping to get a move on with a little bit less crowding inside the inner circle. A new bowler on from the Tarika end is Kamran Hotak. Like Faisal Khan, 19 years old. Like Faisal Khan, an Afghan. Like Faisal Khan, a lefty. Like Faisal Khan, still looking for his first wicket in minor league cricket. The difference is that Kamran is a spinner. And that ball is the fielding attempt, or the throw back to Faisal's end. Going to end up in the outfield. They're going to look to take 2. Here comes the throw back to the bowler's end. Inadvertently fumbled onto the stumps, but not in time. Sahil Garg in safely, and they take 2 on the overthrow after the 1 that they got initially from the hit. So 3 from that first Kamran Hotak delivery. A little bit of everything going on as the wild throw came in from Sohi in the deep. That'll bring Manav on strike. Little indecision lets that one go into the gloves of Anthony Bramble, now wearing the helmet as he approaches the stumps. Slip in place. A swing and a miss. Slip in place is Shivam Mishra. Of course, with the power play over, deep protection all over the place now. Nayak works that one off the edge of the bat, thinks about a single, now scurries back and is in ahead of the throw. But against Nayak, protection at backward square, deep mid-wicket. A wide-ish long on, long off, and extra cover. Nayak bats that delivery straight back to Kamran Hotak on a couple of hops. And now leaning back and launching one, Manav Nayak gets his account in minor league cricket opened in style with a 6. Deposited over, fine leg. That'll wake you up in a hurry. 9 from the over, 4 dots in the middle, but 3 courtesy of some overthrows, and this fantastic sweep over wide, fine leg. Golden State Grizzlies, 33 for 2. The backwards cap lets you know it is going to be Shehan Jayasuriya bowling from Atul's end here in the 8th over. Shehan, a 5 economy last year as middle overs bowling defined this team, but he is going to be taken to the cleaners on the first ball of his spell today, as Sahil Garg has gone yard over the covers. My goodness. Uses the feet to give himself some space. Jayasuriya attacking the stumps, but that winds up giving him all sorts of room to free his hands. Now he's looking for the reverse sweep. Wants to be a lefty. And all I'm going to tell you, Sahil, is you don't want to be a lefty against Shehan Jayasuriya. Last season, Shehan was hell on earth for lefty batters. That ball is pushed just wide of Shehan. Single for Sahil Garg. We mentioned the 5.0 economy, a 15.3 strike rate, 9 wickets at about 13 runs per. All those numbers are great, but what he did against left-handers was absolutely insane. His economy against lefties was 2.83, and his strike rate was 5. For those that are new to some cricket stats, as that is a single hit to the man at long on. To give you a sense of what that means, that is 1 wicket taken every 5 deliveries in 2023. And the ridiculous thing is that wasn't that much better than he had done the prior season. Another attempted switch hit here from Sahil Garg. My apologies, I am misreading my own stats. The strike rate was 10.3, 1 wicket every 10 balls. It was an average of 5 runs per wicket. Still really good. And still somehow not that much of an improvement over 2022. That has been a defining characteristic. If he does take a wicket here, if somebody else gets dismissed, I think if you're Golden State, you're going to want to keep righties out there for as long as Jayasuriya is lurking. 3 singles come after the monster 6 off the bat of Sahil Garg. He's up to 25. Golden State, 42 for 2. More off spin into the attack as Pranay Suri will be bowling from the Tarika end after Kamaran had 1 over given to him. Garg steps across his stumps, hoiks this one and doesn't quite get solid contact to it. It'll dribble to mid-wicket. A single there, and that's going to bring Manav Nayak on strike. Suri, a wicket-taking machine in 2022, a little less lethal last season, particularly in the middle overs where he was so dangerous in 22. Quick single taken as that throw from Mishra is back behind Bramble. No overthrow runs to be taken though. Last year though, 15 wickets at about 20 runs per. That is down from 26 that he took in 2022. There were more games, but not that many more games. Garg down on one knee, hoiks this one to long on. Singles galore so far. As Garg continues to keep trucking, Golden State have upped the ante a bit here in the last few overs. 10 off Sohi, 9 off Hotak, 9 off Jayasuriya. Problem is, even with that bit of upping the ante, they were already so far behind the 8 ball that the run rate required has continued to grow. Now up past 11.5 on that dot from Pranay Suri. That one back behind Nayak. It'll be a wide. Bramble Still certainly within his rights to try to take the stumping if Nayak had been out of his crease in dancing toward the ball. Wouldn't be a surprise, as we mentioned. Bramble led the league last season in stumpings with 5. Good for one of those every other game. Very direct, very flat delivery out of the hand of Pranay-Suri. No flight given whatsoever. Do one of those, you're almost in danger of it bouncing twice. Again, trying to speed things up a little bit. Keeps it within the tram lines, and besides the wide, it's 3 dots to close. 4 off of that over. A very speedy one here. Run rate accelerating, but for that matter, so is the speed with which we're getting through the overs as it's spin from both sides. Golden State 46 for 2 through 9.
It's an impossible shot.
Sometimes, creativity and innovation are all it takes to achieve the impossible. Yash Technologies, more than what you think.
We talked in the open and throughout the first innings about Golden State Grizzlies and their youth movement. Silicon Valley Strikers, certainly a bit more experience out there on the field with the likes of Jayasurya and Graham and Suri and so forth, but still a lot of new faces to them. This is a team that only retained a total of 6 players from last season's roster, one of whom only joined the team for the Super 8s as Jayasurya continues from this side. That one sneaks under the bat of Sahil Garg. Just Netravalkar, Sohi, Graham, Jayasurya, Suri, and youngster Siddhan Senthil, who did not see game action last season. Those are the only players that came back. Lots of losses. A little bit of indecision between the wickets as that one is run to fine leg. Garg thought about coming down the track. Finally does elect to go back. Throw went to the wrong end anyhow. Flat delivery from Jayasurya. Garg toe ends that to the man inside the circle. 3 dots on the trot here for Jayasurya, looking to continue the work Suri did to rein this team in. This time they will look to take the quick run, and the ball is booted by the fielder at fine leg, and they'll take a pair. Sometimes booted is used as a sort of a euphemistic or a slang term. That one literally was kicked. Picks up the pace, does Jayasurya. That one's off the edge. Long run to go and not fielded cleanly out in the deep, but eventually picked up. I believe that is Nitin out there in the deep. Nitin Kumar Kanduri. It's another one ripped on a hop to the man inside the circle. So a pair of 2s, both the fruit of some rough fielding, and that'll do it for over number 10. 50 up for Golden State, 50 for the loss of 2 at the halfway point, and my sincere apologies. Again, you cannot underplay these things. That was a wicket. I'm embarrassed. Sahil Garg is done. That's a big moment here in this game. That one was scorched, I thought, on a hop. So wicket number 3 falls here. Sahil Garg, 31 from 35. He has got all but 19 of the Golden State runs, but he is on his way to the shed. And you take a look at what remains batting-wise here, and it does start to get a little bit bare. Mohit Nataraj is going to come out to partner Manav. So Mohit Nataraj is going to come out to partner Manav Nayak here in a moment, who's sitting at 8 off 12. But beyond that, you've got Sohan Bhatt, who does know a little bit what to do with a bat. We've seen good things from him. In fact, that was mainly his role last season. But beyond that, Ajay Amadi, who has faced 67 balls over 2 seasons with a high score of 20. Got Vatsal Vagela, who scored 32 runs with a high of 12 so far. Devdadani, who has scored 8 off 19 in his career here in minor league, and Anish Deshpande, who has faced 1 delivery since 2021 here in minor league. So it starts to get a little bit on the bear side from this point forward. So this partnership's going to be a big one. The run rate required has now nudged its way up to 13, or very nearly so. A pair of dots to start here against Manav Nayak. Targeting the stumps and rattling the pads after an inside edge there. 3 dots to start here for Suri. Nataraj awaits his turn at the other end, someone capable of doing some acceleration, but he's going to need a partner. Manav looking to be that as he runs that one down to backward square. Ish Sohi in pursuit. It's not the first time Silicon Valley strikers have underplayed the moment of a catch to the point that I did not realize it was a catch. In fact, the man bowling right now, Pranay Suri, did it famously on what became one of the plays of the week last season. A single here for Mohit Nataraj, who gets underway on his first delivery faced. But Suri caught a ball that was scalded straight back over the stumps, and in doing so probably saved the life of the umpire. But he was so lackadaisical about it, I assumed it had to have been a bump ball. He didn't respond. So they have struck again. Three wickets down, just 3 from that over. Suri has given up a total of 7 in his 2 overs of work. 9 overs to go, and that run rate is starting to look really imposing. 13.67 from here to the finish for Golden State, 53 for the loss of 3.
Even the best in the business needs a strategic partner to help them win. Yash Technologies, more than what you think.
A helmet run out to Mohit Nataraj as Silicon Valley looks to go back to Pacers. After bowling the last 5 consecutive overs with spin bowlers, it went Hotak, Jayasuriya, Suri, Jayasuriya, Suri. Initially, it was a little expensive, 9 and 9 from those first 2 overs. Since then, 4, 4 and a wicket, and 3. And that is what Silicon Valley did all last year. That ball run off the face of the bat, down to third man, a single to start the over for Manav Nayak, who's moved himself after that last hit in the prior over into double figures. Well, last season's team, division worst economy in the power play for Silicon Valley strikers, but they were amazing in the middle overs. Had the best economy by 0.8, the best strike rate by 4 balls per wicket, and the best dot percentage by 5 at 47% of their deliveries going for dots. Second ball here faced against Nitin Kumar Kanduri. It's going to be a pair of runs. Ball worked into the covers by Mohit Nataraj. Nitin, for his part, took a wicket in the game last week. It was very expensive, 24 off of his 2 overs. Squared up Saideep Ganesh, LBW, to dismiss him early as he got a power play over, but not able to continue in the attack after giving up those 24 runs. And to be fair, almost nobody was slowing down East Bay 7 days ago. We'll see what Silicon Valley has in store. Last season, one of their hallmarks was they might have their difficulties the first time they faced a team, and then they always seem to get it right the second time. That is a delightful reverse sweep that is running its way down and across the boundary rope. Back behind point. That's new. Don't know that I've seen that one from Mohit Natharaj in the past. Let's get a look at the technique here. Sets it early, drags that one from a center stump line, deposits it back behind point. Troublesome thing for those that are a little new to the game is that all the positions in cricket are named according to whether the batter is right or left-handed, and when somebody does a switch hit like that, I'll be perfectly honest, my brain breaks for a second. That location where Natharaj hit it, that would be backward square if he was a lefty. Backward point because he's right-handed. It's to that offside. Either way, it's 4 runs. This one run into a vacant area. They've taken one, and Manav Nayak has turned back. And all I can think when I see somebody hit the brakes the way he just did is, oh, to be young again. Very quick runner between the wickets. So they'll settle for a single on that delivery. That 4, though, breaking a pretty lengthy string of deliveries without a boundary. Had been 26 balls since the 6 that was hit off of Jayasurya's first delivery. Since Golden State had managed to get one to the boundary rope. They do get one here. They take 8 off of Kanduri's first over. Still sit, though, needing better than 14s for the final 8, 61 for 3. Another change of headwear for Mohit Natharaj as Pranay Suri continues from the Tarika end. And why wouldn't he? 7 runs here, and I mentioned beforehand the economy in the middle overs. That was one of the hallmarks of this team, and they'll want to see that continue. They are without now one of the architects of that economy, and particularly their strike rate inside the middle overs last season, as Srini Raghavan, a recent new father, is taking this season away from the playing field, although not that far away. He was the scorer next to me during the first innings, which was lovely to have. He's been one of those smiling faces you're just excited to see when the season begins anew. So glad he's still around the club. A 1 and a dot to start. Suri flattens that one out considerably, attacking the stumps. Work to the onside, and little work to do from the deep for Kamaran Hotak to chase it, but just a single taken. So the question starts to become here for Golden State. What exactly is the goal for the final 7.5 overs here? Are you trying to see if you can chase this at the risk of potentially getting bowled out very cheap? As Natharaj hoiks this one roughly the same spot, this time less running for Kamaran. Are you looking to survive? Are you looking to eat into the potential net run rate hit? Or do you want to try to take this thing on? 15s is a pretty tall order. and it is only growing in stature as the singles continue to be stacked up here against Pranay. That one's airborne, coming on, trying to come around from long on, but that's going to make it on the fly over the rope. Nataraj ensures that we won't have another 26-ball gap between boundary shots. That one carries over on the final delivery of Suri's third. Golden State 71 for 3, needing exactly 15 runs from here to the finish per over. Just picked the length well, got himself under it, and elevated to the rope. Mohit Nataraj, welcome to the party. 16 for him with a 4 and a 6. Take a look here at the remainder of this season's structure. It is an abbreviated one here in minor league cricket, 8 games aside before the playoff weekend that will feature the top 2 from each division. East Bay hosted Silicon Valley last week. They will face off with Silicon Valley in Santa Clara tomorrow morning. So far, those 2 games and this one right here are the only ones in the Western Division. But that will change in a hurry next weekend in Van Nuys at Woodley. It's going to be an extravaganza there. LA, San Diego, Seattle, all will get their seasons underway as Shahan Jayasuriya continues from this side and gives up an immediate boundary, a 2-hop 4 off the bat of Manav Nayak over the head of extra cover. Nicely struck there. Nitin Kanduri continuing. No, excuse me, that's a mistake on the scorecard there. This is definitely Shahan Jayasuriya doing the bowling at the moment, and well swung. This time Nayak uses the feet to give himself a little access to the onside. Taps it to fine leg. That'll be a single and bring Nataraj back on strike, who hit a bomb over long on in his last delivery faced. 100 runs needed from 40 deliveries. That's going to lop off a few of them, though. Nataraj swiveling, drilling that one over the top of fine leg. Another 4. Well, I was pondering earlier what Golden State's goal might be from here. I think we're getting a good look at it. Saw the short delivery coming from Jayasuriya and looked to get himself out in front of it. Hit it well in front of his body to drag it over the top of the man behind him and to his left. Expensive over so far. Nataraj puts this one in the air. Could be a chance. Tracking back and watching it fly away. Awaiting the signal, and it does come from the man at long on. It is a 6. It got over on the fly. 3 boundaries in 6 balls against a man with a 5 economy last year. That is some found money right there. Nataraj puts his hand up once a moment before the next delivery comes. Better length that time from Jayasuriya, and Nataraj forced to defend it, tries to guide it back behind to fine leg. Nothing there. We get another look at the 6 here, although coming quickly back to live. It's the reverse sweep. That one in the air, and that one goes all the way. Mohit Nataraj, what an over from him. 2 6s and a 4 after the early boundary hit by Manav Nayak. Nataraj now with 32 off 12. And with 6 overs remaining, 84 still required to get home. It's still a tall order, needing 14, but it certainly helps to lop off 21 of them in one fell swoop. 92 for 3. 21 runs off the 14th over, Jayasurya's third. It's been a while since he's had an over quite like that. Mohit Nataraj responsible for 16 of those. 4 and 2 sixes, each one prettier than the one before. It'll be Manav Nayak on strike. And it's going to be Saurabh Netravalkar, brought in 1 over prior to what are nominally the death overs, to stem the tide. And I would imagine that the goal from the men in two-tone blue is to try to extinguish all hope. Right now, though, heck, 4 more overs like that last one, and Golden State will get home with 12 balls left. An attempt to do the same thing to Saurabh Netravalkar, but Manav Nayak instead. There is no touch. Nayak's response to it had me concerned. There might have been a feathered edge into the gloves of Anthony Bramble. Just frustration at not making contact as opposed to frustration at making the kind of contact that ruins your day. Netravalkar has bowled 13 deliveries, 11 of them dots. Even for him, that's an outstanding spell so far. Nayak and Nataraj want to dirty up the second half of it, though. That one is run back fine, and it's going to get past third man and to the rope. Manav Nayak keeps the boundary party going. Netravalkar gave up one of those to his old teammate Rahul Jariwala on the second ball he bowled. And since then, it had been all dots save for 1 single until that. $80 now needed from 34. Another one run back in the direction of third man, this time a single, and they'll put Mohit Nataraj on strike, who you would have to imagine right about now is feeling himself. Mohit, the 33-year-old, who will be 34 on the day of the final game of the regular season here in the Western Division. Somebody who felt good about being part of this youth project. A lot of players decided to move on where they might be able to be difference makers on a team planning to be a bit more ambitious. Nataraj puts this one in the air, and that is going to be an easy chance at long off. And the end of an explosive but all too brief day for Mohit. He departs with 32 off 13, a strike rate well in excess of 200. It's different doing that sort of thing against Shehan or Nitin Kanduri as opposed to trying to do it against Saurabh Netravalkar. A shake of the hands, knows what he wanted out of that one, but we'll get a look at that delivery. Looked like a bit of a toe end, and Nataraj knew it immediately. As that one floated to the man out in the deep. Faisal Khan makes the catch. Netravalkar picks up his first wicket of the encounter. In fact, his first wicket of this minor league cricket season. Last year, it was a rare instance for him to go through a match without recording a dismissal. But he was hit for 29 runs in 4 overs against East Bay and did not strike. Today now 1 for 10 in 16 balls. His 12th dot delivery out of 16 balls here, as Golden State are going to have to try to rebuild with a new partnership. Sohan Bhatt enters the affair. Defended and potentially with his heart in his mouth there by Sohan Bhatt, but that will just simply be dot ball number 13. Sohan last season with an average just a tick over 15. But a strike rate down in the 80s and all the way down to 71 against Pacers. was a fair bit better with the stick in 2022, where he struck at a 101 rate and a 21 average. He'll be looking to dial up a little more of that when we come back on the other side of this quick break. 15 overs done, 79 required off the final 5 overs for Golden State, 97 for 4.
It's an impossible shot.
Sometimes creativity and innovation are all it takes to achieve the impossible. Yash Technologies, more than what you think.
It'll be Ishwarajit Sohi back into the attack here for the Silicon Valley Strikers from Atul's end. The Canada international getting his field in place with Manav Nayak on strike. He did have a deep man at long on, but has now put most of the deep protection behind. Fine leg third man. And a very, very narrow backward square. I mean, I would even contend the man you see at the right side of your screen is almost bordering on a long stop. He will, however, find where there is no one. It's a one bounce 6 over the top of Shahan Jayasurya at mid-off. Very evidently, so he thought he did not need the protection out in front, and Manav Nayak has set about trying to, well, set him straight on that point. Hold the pose. Gorgeous looking off drive. And so he has blown up the stumps behind Nayak on the very next ball. That one clattering into the woodwork. And so he's got a 3 for today in his return to the Silicon Valley Strikers setup. Manav will depart with 27 off 29 on debut here. And in at 7 will be AJ Imadi. Over 2 seasons in 2021-22, AJ faced a total of 67 balls and scored 61 runs, dismissed 5 times. He is going to have to face up to that, which just cleaned up Manav Nayak. Manav had, to that point, basically gotten to largely avoid facing a lot of express pace. A little bit of Kanduri and a smidge of Netravalkar, who he did hit for that 4 earlier. But so he blows that one past. Nayak striding slightly forward and gets under the bat. The 4 earlier had brought up the 100 for Golden State, but they do still sit 75 runs shy of the total. Asking rate up to 16s. That one climbs a little bit on the new batter, AJ Imadi. Dot ball as Sohi looks to apply the clamps and put this one firmly out of reach here in the start of the death overs. Sort of had a feeling that as long as Nataraj and Nayak stayed out there, there was a chance of something special taking place here. It's going to be a lot harder from this point, though. Sohi through the shot of Imadi and into the gloves of Anthony Bramble. 2 dots to start. Ishwarajit with 4 ODI wickets in 15 overs against Nepal back in February. As he made his, among his first Canada appearances. Another one that climbs. And another one that ends up in the gloves of Anthony Bramble. Nice start here for Sohi, who struggled a little bit at the death in his limited action with Silicon Valley at the end of last season. Only 35% of his deliveries dots, an economy north of 9. And seeing 15.4% of his balls hit to the boundary. He does give up the boundary early, then strikes, and now is just playing a bit of keep away with AJ Amati as the run rate required tips its way over 3 runs per ball. And he's got another in this over. Blast that one by Amati, and it's a 4-ball duck in his return after a dormant 2023. So he's got 4 for. That is a new high here in minor league cricket for him in wickets in an encounter. He's got 1 over left to bowl. He's going to get a crack at trying to take 5 for the first time as a minor league cricketer. Let's get a good look at this one. Excellent length, and Amati trying to give himself a little bit of space. You don't really want to have your head in motion, though, when that ball is coming at that sort of speed, at that type of Yorker length. Golden State 101 for 6, 4 overs to go. The pace attack of the Silicon Valley Strikers doing exactly what they needed to do after an uncharacteristic couple of expensive overs from the middle over spinners. Suri had conceded 10 after a 6 to finish the 13th over. Jayasuriya went for 21 as Mohit Nataraj expressed himself en route to a score in the 30s with a strike rate well over 200. They brought in Saurabh Netravalkar. Nayak got 1 4 off of him, and then immediately, as this one is guided to fine leg by Sohan Bhatt on 1 hop, that'll be a single. But after the Nayak 4, it has gone 1 wicket ... for the end of the Netravalkar over, and then in came Ishwarajit Sohi, 4 wicket ... wicket. Golden State well and truly into the tail of their lineup now. And a matter of finishing this out strong as Faisal Khan back into the attack here, still in search of that first wicket in two-tone blue. But for the time being, can hang his hat on superb economy, 7 runs off 14 balls delivered, as we get a look at Ishwarajit Sohi out here at the boundary rope. 4 wickets so far, making a claim for man of the match today. Of course, Shehan Jayasuriya would have a little something to say about that with his 49 off the bat. Vatsal Vaghela, the new batter, in. 2 dots to start him off after Sohan Bhatt got his account for the season underway. As we mentioned, this Strikers team will play its 3rd game of the season tomorrow, a rematch against the East Bay Blazers. They'll be looking to bring their all-time series against the Blazers back to 500. That one guided wide of the man inside the circle at mid-wicket. Vaghela's up and running with a single off the 3rd ball he faces. East Bay, in fact, the only team that has played Silicon Valley more than once in its history that has a winning record against them. And that's only the case because of the victory 7 days ago. So they'll be looking to get back even on their neighbors in the Bay. Sohan Bhatt hits this delivery just to the side of the bowler Faisal. Another single. After that, we started to tell you about the weekend to come at Woodley. Basically, LA, San Diego, and Seattle will face Golden State, East Bay, and Silicon Valley in every possible combination. And Vagella is gone here as Faisal Khan strikes for his first MILC wicket. A string of bolds over the course of the last couple of overs. It's a short stay at the crease for the Golden State skipper. 1 off 4 for him. As we take a look at a nice moment here, it looked like maybe a bit of pace off from Faisal Khan as he knocks over the top of off stump following an early thrown shot by the man in navy blue. So with 3 overs left, we will tell you a little bit here again about that upcoming schedule. September 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. 3 games every one of those days. As we said, they're going to mix and match the three Northern California teams against the other 3 teams in the division in every possible way. In fact, they'll do 3 of those matchups twice: East Bay, Seattle, Silicon Valley, LA, and Golden State, San Diego. And then week 4, we're going to have a doubleheader in Santa Clara between Golden State and East Bay. Meanwhile, LA and San Diego will head up to Seattle to face the Thunderbolts twice each. That'll be the end of Seattle's season and the end of East Bay's season. And then in week 5, LA will travel down to the Surf Riders to play 2 against their SoCal rivals. And Golden State will face off with Silicon Valley in Santa Clara for a single game on the 28th. And that will be that. Everybody plays their 8 matches. They face 3 teams twice and the other 2 once each. Top 2 go to your conference Super 8s. Looks as though that is going to be held in Atlanta this season. And the winner of each of those 4-team groups will contest the 2024 minor league cricket title. And of course, we know we're going to have, at the very least, for the 4th year running, not a defending champion, as the first delivery to Sohan Bhatt from Ishwarjat Sohi in search of a fifer is guided to backward square, and a single is taken. Varad Kane about to face his first delivery in minor league cricket. We know we won't have a repeat champion, as the Dallas Mustangs on the eve of the tournament pulled themselves out of the competition. One of the reasons why we'll see Rashil Ugarkar with East Bay tomorrow morning in Santa Clara. That ball tapped to the offside, no run there. So there won't be a repeat champion, but there might be a return to the podium potentially. Of course, the 3 champions this league has had so far, or the 2 they've had besides the Dallas Mustangs, have both come out of this Western Division. The team sitting 17 runs away from a victory as a no ball bowled by Sohi. This is going to be a free hit for Varad Kane. He'll tap that to the onside after the earlier front foot overstep, and pick up his first run here in minor league cricket. Kane with a high in NCCA action of 56 off 46 back in April when he came in at 4. Of course, in a little lower here in the order as he takes the step up to a new level, in at 9 today to bat alongside Bhatt. Bhatt will take another single here. And just 3 balls left here for Sohi to try to claim his first minor league fifer. There's a nice looking shot just past a diving man inside the circle, Kamran Hotak. And Varad Kane will look to take a second. The throw is back to Sohi's end. 2 taken there, that's quite stylish. Single worked here as the Nelson comes up for Golden State, 111 for 7. Sohi going at roughly a run a ball, but those 4 wickets have been big, and particularly the 2 he took to really shut down much hope. Those coming in the 16th over as he has dismissed Rahul Jariwala, Kranti Kumar, AJ Amadi, and Manav Nayak. Netravalkar took care of Natharaj, who was in his ascendancy. So he took care of 4 others, and he will finish off with run-a-ball figures, 4 for 24. Take a bow, 2 overs remaining, 111 for 7. Golden State, a lot of work to do. Silicon Valley Strikers nearing win number 1 on the season. And we'll take a look at that batting card, and a few decent-looking scores there. Sahil Garg, very nice as the opener before he was caught behind by Adit Gorawara. Rather, caught in the deep, rather, by Adit Gorawara off the bowling of Shehan Jayasurya. Nayak and Natharaj were the partnership that started to get Golden State hoping that there might be a miracle in the offing, particularly that 21-run over, and Natharaj beginning to hit it to all parts. He goes for a rapid-fire 32 off 13. But when he was dismissed, the writing was on the wall. Netravalkar's taken 1 for 10 in his 3 overs of work. A standard uber-economical spell, and although the wicket he did take was not nominally in the death, doing what he usually does, which is being insanely economical up front in the power play, and then doing most of his wicket taking at the death. That's in the air, and there it goes again, and a second wicket taken by Saurabh Netravalkar. And that's going to be the end of Varad Kane. A brief cameo, gets his first 4 runs as an MILC player. But chips out there as that ball from Netravalkar climbs, gets off the splice of the bat, and winds up airborne. Easily into the hands of the man at cover. Generally speaking, wherever Shehan Jayasurya is, don't hit it there. Those bare paws are going to wrap themselves easily around it. That'll bring up Dev Tadani, who last year as a teammate of Saurabh Netravalkar combined for what was one of, if not the best or highest scoring 11th wicket partnerships of that season. Netravalkar particularly interesting, as I don't think he lost his wicket until the game in the Super 8s where East Bay bowled out Silicon Valley. Otherwise, he was going through most of the season with a infinite average. He partnered Dev Tadani on a few occasions down the stretch of games. Tadani, for his part, 8 off 19 in 4 innings, but not out on 3 occasions, so the average 8, the high score 6. The strike rate a fair ways shy of 50. Tomorrow's game shaping up as a really big one in this division, because East Bay for sure came in pre-draft, post-draft looking like the class of this division. They bring back a large chunk of a team that went 8-1 last year inside divisional play, and then somewhat easily swept aside Silicon Valley and Lone Star last year before falling to the Mustangs. Silicon Valley before the draft, my hot take was I thought this might be the year they missed the playoffs, and then they reloaded in the draft and in free agency about as well as any team I've seen, and now it's hard to see them out of the top 2. Single taken here by Tadani off of his old teammate. The Nelson came for Varad Kane. 111, treated as a bad luck sort of number for batting sides, whether you're a batter on 111 or a batting team on 111. Different places have their different bugaboos. In Australia, it's 87 because you're 13 shy of 100. Suhas Vedam 2 years ago on comms taught me all about the Nelson. One ball left for Netravalkar, who's taken 2 wickets and given up just 11 runs. A sterling spell for him. Almost unhittable in the power play, and it hasn't gotten much easier for anybody here in overs number 15 or number 19. Final ball of his spell, that's run back to the side of Gary Graham. He'll have a nice little kick save there and prevent it from reaching Sohi back at fine leg, but that is going to be the end of Netravalkar's spell. Just 6 balls left in the encounter. He finishes with figures of 2 for 12, giving up half a run per ball and taking his first 2 wickets of 2024. Golden State 113 for 8.
Even the best in the business needs a strategic partner to help them win. Yash Technologies, more than what you think.
It's down and 63 runs shy of the target right now as we enter the 20th over. And that one is shot and a diving snag to keep it on the infield from Adit Godawada. That was tasty. And I was on the lookout for whether I needed to celebrate a wicket because I got fooled once before by Godawada not reacting properly. Nothing doing there. Sohan Bhatt survives as Faisal Khan is entrusted with the final over. But I was about to say, all of that obviously not good news for the Golden State Grizzlies. In the fun column, as that's run down to fine leg for a single, Svadad Kane gets to now tell folks that he's got something in common with Virat Kohli. Also with Rohit Sharma, with Mohammad Rizwan, with Aiden Markram, with all sorts of illustrious cricketers. Kane, along with Nataraj today, has been added to Netravalkar's victim list for the summer. Only Anish Deshpande remains in the shed. Every other club has come out of the bag so far for the Golden State Grizzlies in this pursuit. Silicon Valley, a clinical defense of that, well, rather clinically attained batting total of 175 for 5. 3 scores, round about 30 for Golden State Grizzlies, and otherwise it is kind of phone number reading, 5260141. And 5 extras. And that is another wicket down. Faisal Khan has taken leg stump out of the ground and dismissed Dev Thadani for 1 run off 5. And again, if I'm seeing that right, it looks like it's the second time he has taken a wicket bowled due to going pace off. Can be a big time weapon when you bowl as hard as the young Afghani does. It appeared that he took a little bit off of that one, got Thadani to throw the shot a bit early as Vatsal Vagela did earlier. And wicket number 9 is down. Here is Anish Deshpande. We were mentioning earlier, he batted once against East Bay Blazers with Hollywood back in 2021, as that ball is a dot for the penultimate delivery. Had a 6 not out off 13 with Hollywood. Since then, he has faced 5 deliveries and not scored, so he'll try and break a 3-year scoreless drought in minor league cricket here on the final ball of today's encounter. And he will do no such thing. Faisal Khan takes 3 for, knocks over 3 of the 4 tail batters for the Golden State Grizzlies. And on the final ball of the encounter, Golden State are 114 all out. It is a 61-run victory for Silicon Valley as they claim their first win of 2024. This time around, I don't think that was pace off. That was just all power. Again, hitting leg stump against the left-hander to end the encounter with a flourish. As we said, 5-2-6, 0-1, 4-1-0. The rest of that batting card behind 31 from Sahil Garg, 27 from Manav Nayak, and a quick-fire 32 to lead all Grizzlies from Mohit Nataraj. We will take a look at that batting card here briefly in just a moment. A good chunk of the middle order to really extinguish all hope that might have been developing for the Golden State. You kind of look at the contour of the innings, and it started with a decent opening partnership, but very slow. They started to accelerate through overs 7, 8, and 9. Then came the clamps put on by the middle overs. Then came the brief Nataraj flurry, and then came the hammer. And it was in the form of Sohi and Netravalkar dismissing a few important batters. Jayasuriya takes one as well, but does get smacked around a little bit in his last over. Suri and Kanduri make up the other 4 overs of work. We'll take a look at the batting card one more time here as well for the Golden State Grizzlies. So we said Garg 31 off 35 on debut today. Manav Nayak also just a hair under a run of ball, 27 off 29 before Sohi dismissed him with what was by and large the death knell of that chase. Tough debut for Kranti Kumar here with the Golden State Grizzlies as he just picks up the 2 runs before getting squared up for Sohi's first wicket. Mohit Nataraj, the big performance, 32 off 13, a flurry of 6s, and just a bit of joy there in the middle of that innings. After that, a bit of a capitulation, but 6. Nobody else able to clear 4. Nice to see a few folks get their first runs in minor league cricket, though. We talked about Garg, we talked about Nayak, Kane as well before the dismissal from Saurabh Netravalkar as he got him to hit it into the paws of Shahan Jayasuriya. That is going to be all here for us from Morgan Hill, and I mean that both for today and also for the season as a whole. Remaining games here in the northern part of the Western Division are going to be played all in Santa Clara. We've got tomorrow morning, same cricket time, same cricket channel, as we will be kicking things off at 11:15 a.m. Pacific, 2:15 Eastern for the Strikers and the Blazers, a game that promises to be a very important one in the story of who eventually goes through to the playoffs, even as it is only the 3rd game played here in Western Division action. And of course, after that, all kinds of action coming to us from LA next weekend. Until then, though, we will see you tomorrow morning here on the MLC Network. I have been Joe Hickey with Vishal Tiku behind the controls, and we're glad you spent your Friday afternoon with us. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care, folks.
It's an impossible shot.
Sometimes creativity and innovation are all it takes to achieve the impossible. Yash Technologies, more than what you think.
You're watching the 2024 Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Yash Technologies.